All right, June 6th. Today was my last therapy session. It gave me a sense of loss that has kept my anxiety up all day. Took Xanax. You know, writing here has been pretty much a saving grace, I'd say, when dealing with what one would call depression. And it's something that we don't talk a lot about in our community, but it's one thing that I don't mind speaking about with you today. Since we are on OnlyFans and on a platform that bears it all, although I'm fully clothed at this time for this one, I can bear it all another way and talk to you a little bit about my depression journey. I can say to you now that I have lived with depression for a majority of my short life. I'm only 37 at this time, but as long as I can remember, I am keenly aware of depression. It has been almost a companion to me as another person would be. Unfortunately, it's a companion you get used to having. And when it's not there, you get kind of worried. You get kind of scared. Now, I know some of you who are watching may come from a religious background or may come from a space where you don't know what depression looks like altogether. Well, I suffer with a double whammy, depression as well as anxiety. And it's almost, it's not akin to being bipolar, but there's some sharp differences. The depression comes through in a way where at times waking up takes hours. You wake up at 6:30, wake up at 7 a.m., but you can't get out of bed until 1 p.m., 2 p.m., if that. And there's been so many times that my depression has almost kept me from doing shows. It's caused me to cancel meetings. It has impeded my ability to manage albums. And it's actually done one of the best jobs at ruining relationships. Yes, depression is real. Depression is here. Depression has been a constant companion. However, I can say I am determined, like anyone else, I suppose, who deals with this, to not allow depression to destroy me. I'm going to tell you a quick story. The year was 2006, I believe, and I lived in Los Angeles. And I was a little broke. And anybody who deals with money and deals with brokenness or has been an artist knows that sometimes your mood is a little bit lighter when you have a couple of dollars in your pocket, and it's a little bit heavier when you're broke. And at this time in Los Angeles, on the bus, if you took the train and the bus, you could get off the train and then use the same ticket as a day pass to get onto the bus to go wherever you needed to go. All right. They were not as diligent as checking that. Usually, typically, they were not as diligent about checking these types of things. And so this particular day, I kind of walked on the train with an old ticket. But what I didn't realize is that after a few days, the tickets that were normally white started to turn a light shade of gray. And so if you were paying attention, you'd be able to instantaneously know that, boom, this is not a legit ticket. I got off the train, was getting on the bus, and I was going to go down Crenshaw to the church. At the time, I was at West Angeles. And I got on the bus, and as I was walking on, this black bus driver said, "Hold it, come back here." So let me see your ticket. And I showed him the ticket. He said, "Man, this is an old ticket." And I did the whole act of searching for, I grabbed the wrong one. I did the whole act, trying to find it. And of course, I couldn't find the ticket. And he said, "I would have let you ride had you just told me the truth." And he kicked me off the bus. I said, "All right, well, I'm going to be determined and walk on anyway." So I walked all the way from the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Vine all the way to Crenshaw and La Brea. And if you've ever been to LA, you know that's not a short walk. I walked it all myself. On the way back, I had to go over overpass that was over. I believe it was the 101 of some sort. And I got to the edge, and I had convinced myself that it was time to go. Depression puts you in a tunnel, and the tunnel is a silo. It's dark there. It's quiet there. And you feel that if you just continue to go down the tunnel, that you yourself would not be a bother to anyone else any longer. You feel that once you do this, that you have done everybody that you love and care about a favor, that you have gotten out of the way, and they no longer will have to worry about you. Well, I got to the end there, the edge of the overpass, and I decided that jumping would be the easiest thing to do because I don't think the fall would kill me, but the cars were coming so fast and would not have enough time to stop that they'd kill me. I was going to do that. Depressed. I didn't have money. I'd been embarrassed. I'd been ashamed, and I didn't know what else to do. And I was on the overpass, and the only thing that stopped me from jumping over, it was not the fear of what would happen once I went over. It was not the fear of who would see. It was the smell of the exhaust, because as I was trying to get my courage up, I couldn't breathe to do it. And I stepped back, and it was almost as if someone pulled me back. No one was there but me. And I had a moment, just a moment, to come to my senses. And once I was able to get to my senses, I had enough good sense to stay there. I don't know what would have happened if it wasn't busy that day, if it wasn't rush hour, if it was not a lot of traffic. I don't know what would have happened. I have no clue. I don't know what would have happened had I not been overwhelmed by some of the fumes from the cars that day. Depression will keep you from doing the things that you've always wanted to do. For years, I'd wanted to go out of the country and to travel and to do my music. And many of you know that I had the privilege of going to Russia, but I almost didn't. I was frightened. I was frightened that if my companion showed up while I was there with no one to help me, what would I do? Would it stop me? Would it stop me from performing? Did it? No, it did not. Was it there? Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The weekends sometimes that I spent alone was spent completely in bed, not recuperating because I was tired, but I was simply depressed. I had to realize it's something that I had no control over. I say all of this to say this. Depression's real. I live with it. And that's the operative word. I live. Thankfully, I've been able to do a lot of fun things. I've lived a short life, a long life in a short body in a short amount of time. And I'm determined to spend the rest of this hopefully long life. You know, I always tell people I don't want to be like those folks who become greater or more famous, or their music is more beloved after they've gone. I've never wanted to be that person at all. I've always wanted to be a person who could enjoy some of it. And I am determined not to allow depression to stop that. But that's it. That's me bearing it all for you today. Depression's real. It's not a hoax. Before I go, I will tell you this little antidote. Be careful of the drugs you take with it. My doctor, thank God, had the good sense to give me a couple of different trials to see what would help with the depression, because of my depression is also accompanied with insomnia at times too. And so we tried a few things. We tried trazodone. Trazodone, you lose a day. That's not something I worked for me too well. Lexapro was unfeeling. You could drop dead in front of me and I would not care what one bit, right? That was a very interesting experience. But the craziest experience I had with trying to battle this little situation was Prozac. Prozac will have you during your waking hours feel normal, be able to function and take care of the business you need to take care of. And It helps regulate your sleep pattern. You get 8 hours of sleep. However, there's a few side effects to Prozac that people don't often talk about that I happen to be so lucky to experience about all of them. First thing is that you have nightmares. I mean, night terrors. That's what they say on the bottle. And my night terror, the one that sticks out in my memory too, actually, one I drove off of a cliff, and usually when you drive off of a cliff, you wake up before you hit the bottom. Not this time. I felt it all. FEMA came out. The whole air crew came down to rescue me. The second one, though, is that me and my grandmother were stuck. I mean, stuck in an apartment complex that was being raided by all of these insurgents. And I had to get her to safety, and they shot her, and I had to carry her body. Oh, it was just horrible. So I woke up, of course, terrorized and traumatized by my dreams. But then you lose your depth perception. And so I was walking on U Street up here and fell, and people thought I was drunk, but no, I wasn't drunk at all. And then you lose your short-term memory. That's fun. I was in Leafont Plaza, the Metro, and I forgot where I was and where I needed to go and had to call for help. And then I think once or twice at church, I played the same hymn twice. We had to get off of that one. Left my keys in the refrigerator, that kind of thing. All weird kind of stuff. So I say this to say, yeah, I live with it. And the operative word is live. The goal is to live by any means necessary. I have no choice in the death part. That'll happen at some point, and I hope I don't play a part in it. But for now, and it is my hope that living will remain a priority. Thank you.